I have a couple drones here from DJI that I wanted to do a little comparison with. Over here I have the Neo, which is a really affordable drone from DJI, and over here I have the Flip, which is a step up from the Neo, but that doesn't mean that it's better in every way. If you clicked on this video, I'm sure you want to know which one you should get or if it's worth upgrading your current Neo to the Flip. Well, hopefully this video will help you out with that. So let's just go ahead and start off with the image quality. The Neo has a half-inch sensor with a 14mm equivalent lens that shoots at a fixed 2.8 aperture, while the Flip has a 1/1.3-inch sensor with a 24mm equivalent lens at a 1.7 aperture. Both can shoot 4K video, but the Neo can only shoot at 30 frames per second, and the Flip can shoot up to 100 frames per second. Both can do vertical filming, but by cropping into the image. So the Neo does 1080p up to 60 frames per second, and the Flip can do 2.7K up to 30 frames per second. They both take 12 megapixel photos, but the Flip has a quad Bayer filter that allows you to take 48 megapixel images. The Flip can also take JPEG and RAW images, while the Neo can only shoot in JPEG. You'll most likely be using these in video mode though, and the Flip is going to give you more freedom in color grading since it can film in D-Log-M, as well as in normal color mode. The Neo only has the normal picture profile. You probably already knew who was going to win this before I even started, but of course, the Flip wins this in every way. Alright, next, let's compare the stabilization of these drones. The Flip has the advantage here because it has a 3-axis gimbal. The Neo only has a single-axis gimbal, but it also uses electronic image stabilization. It also has a wider field of view, 117.6 degrees versus the 82.1 degrees on the Flip, so it's going to be harder to detect those micro jitters. You can check it out here when I was testing the follow mode in both drones. They both perform really well, so it's hard to pick a winner here. I'm going to give it to the Flip though because of that 3-axis gimbal. Also because it's bigger, it's going to be more stable in the air. But let me know if you think the Neo is better here. Now let's check out the controller options. So both drones can be flown with the RC2 controller, the RC-N2 and N3 controllers, or with just your phone. You can also fly these drones autonomously without any controller at all. Let's check out those autonomous modes real quick. They both do follow mode, droney, circle, rocket, spotlight, and then there's the custom mode where you can choose between 3 options. There's direction track, boomerang, and helix. So they're pretty equal in the controller category up to this point, but the Neo has a huge advantage in that it can be flown as an FPV drone with the RC Motion 3 or the FPV Remote Controller 3. I don't have sampled footage of this because I don't fly FPV, but it's going to be a big difference for some people in deciding which of these two to get. If you're going to be flying the Neo in FPV, you're also going to need either the Goggles N3 or the Goggles 3. Even though I don't fly FPV, I'm going to have to give this category to the Neo. Alright, so next, let's do the battery life and storage. Battery life is going to be quick because the Flip has a max flight time of 31 minutes, while the Neo is only 18 minutes. These are in ideal conditions, and in real-world use, you're going to get closer to 25 minutes and 15 minutes respectively. But still, the Flip wins here. Now let's check out the storage options. Well, the Neo doesn't really have options since it doesn't have an SD card slot, but it does have 22 gigabytes of internal storage. The Flip technically has internal storage, but only 2 gigabytes worth. So you're going to need a micro SD card for it, and it can support cards up to 512 gigabytes. I'm going to give this one to the Flip since you can record more with a memory card, but it would have been nice if it had a bigger internal storage like the Neo. So yeah, I guess this one goes to the Flip. Now let's check out the design of these drones. They're both under the 250 gram weight limit, which, depending on where you live, you won't have to register the drone if you're flying recreationally. Unfortunately, if you need to register either of these drones, neither have a built-in remote ID, so you're going to have to add one to it. But because the Flip comes in at 249 grams out of the box, adding a remote ID to it is going to put it over the 250 gram weight limit and into another category. The Neo has a takeoff weight of 135 grams, so adding a remote ID to it won't be a problem. They both have propeller guards on them, which is a big selling point of these drones. Body-wise, the Neo is going to be simple because it is what it is. It doesn't fold up or anything, so yeah. The Flip can fold the propellers in so it's easier to transport. This makes it about the same size as the Neo. It's still going to be more bulky though. Depending on how big your pockets are, you might be able to fit the Neo in there. The Flip, on the other hand, isn't going to be as easy. I'm going to give this one to the Neo because not only is it smaller and easier to bring around, it also has less moving parts to break. And finally, since we were just talking about how deep your pockets are, let's check out the price difference. The Neo starts at $199 for just the drone only. If you're in the US, there currently isn't any package where it comes with a controller, so you'll have to get that separately. The RC-N3 comes at $129, and the RC2 is $369. The Flip currently isn't available standalone, which kind of sucks if you already own other DJI drones and have one of the controllers that work with it. So the cheapest option here is packaged with the RC-N3, and that comes at $439. If you want to get it with the RC2 controller, that comes in at $639. I can't choose a winner here because it's going to be based on your needs. I think they both come in at a really great price though, and both are definitely worth their value. Alright, so hopefully this helps you out with your purchase decisions. There might be other factors that you might be looking at that I didn't cover here, so just let me know in the comments if you have any questions. For now though, I need to find some cash to fill in these deep pockets that I apparently have. See ya.